Self-Publishing Podcast, episode number 157.
This episode of the Self-Publishing Podcast is brought to you by 99 Designs, the online marketplace that helps you get outstanding book cover designs at an affordable price. Start your custom design today at 99designs.com/SPP. Enjoy a free Power Pack upgrade valued at $99.
Welcome to the Self-Publishing Podcast, where if you want something done right, you've got to do it yourself. And now, here are your hosts, three goths who spend most of their time up in the trees, Johnny, Sean, and Dave.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Self-Publishing Podcast, a podcast that follows three full-time authors as we attempt to change the face of indie publishing. Join us and our trailblazing guests as we shove aside boundaries, freely experiment, and occasionally screw up. I'm Johnny B. Truant, and my co-hosts are Sean Platt and David Wright, coming to you from the dark pit of Redacted on a day schedule.
Yeah, Dave is he's kind of giddy. He's in that
Wait, well, I'm sorry. What was that sentence again?
Dave is kind of giddy. He's been singing. He was on for like, I don't know, a minute before you hopped on, Johnny, and he was blushy cheeked and singing and
No, wow.
Blushy cheeked, wow.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
So I let's one thing I wanted to get out of the way. Well, okay. So this can be kind of topical, not to be confused with getting on to topic. Our guest is
going
to
to
be
out of the way before the show starts.
right. Well, our guest is going to be Seth Atwood, and our topic will be apps, publishing apps, and this is cool. This is like, well, let's just save that for Seth.
Well, this is the thing that I really wanted to talk about. Seth sent an email confirming his time on today's podcast, and he said, "I could tell you really wanted to talk about it, but nothing really happened." And it's true. I didn't. Well, I didn't want to. I didn't even know where to start, and it really is best to save it for Seth. But I'm so stupid excited about this app, and again, so will you guys all be. Except Dave.
So in addition,
Dave won't care.
Except for Dave. No, Dave won't care. Dave doesn't even want to be here. Dave wants to have the day.
No, Dave totally did oh man, because we weren't supposed to have a podcast today because we did our anniversary one the day before yesterday, and he totally gave us a what the hell. So
in addition to Sean attempting to talk about the app, it would have been 2 weeks ago for if you're on the audio feed because we bunched them up here. Episode 155, which was a terrible show. So in addition to the app that Sean couldn't finish talking about, one of the other casualties was there were many casualties on that show because we were so distracted and we didn't know what we could talk about.
The biggest casualty was your hour. Sorry,
the biggest casualty was your hour. Sorry, everybody. But it was also the mastermind. Now, I do want to address this because we've gotten quite a few questions because we said if anyone's interested to email Amy at help@sterlingandstone.net.
Sorry about that, Amy.
And Amy has basically said, you guys need to talk about that at least a little bit because I don't know what the hell to tell anybody, and then they're confused, and I'm just imagining these baffled writers walking around blindly, running into each other and falling down because they don't know what to do.
I think we should define. I think we should define the term mastermind because I think it's a term that may be natural to some, but not to all. And
and let's before Sean. Well, Dave is the mastermind. Before Sean goes in and defines mastermind, I just want everybody to listen to this and let me position this discussion because the Stone Table, like our mastermind, isn't going to be relevant for most of you, and so it's like, well, why are we wasting your time? And the answer is because masterminding as a concept is something that you should take and run with, and you can kind of follow our model the way that you followed models of other stuff we've done. So with that said, Sean, do you want to define mastermind and talk about what the hell we're doing?
Yeah, I think there's you can think of mastermind as like a lowercase m and an uppercase m, and a mastermind is just a group of people who get together and kind of exchange information. And so, actually, it is a term that I take for granted, and I think that just everybody kind of knows. The other day, I was having lunch with somebody who lives here in Austin, and he's a really bright guy. He started a software company, and I was talking about a mastermind. not ours. Actually, ours was part of the conversation, but I was talking about one that I belong to. And he said, now what's a mastermind? And that really surprised me because he seemed like exactly, I would have assumed he'd belonged to a mastermind or two. But I think a mastermind is any group of people who are trading information. And when we first started the self-publishing podcast, it was under that guise. We were basically masterminding out loud once a week to kind of talk about what is and isn't working. And Dave and I were doing it full time professionally, and Johnny wanted to kind of add his 2 cents into that and glean whatever information he could. And that's really what a mastermind is. It's a group of people where you're looking to be both a contributor and a recipient of quality information that is relevant to the things that you want to do and the goals that you want to accomplish. So in that term, a mastermind could be anything from a Google group that you have, or a small group of people where, like, let's say you're trying to a cult. You're trying to choose between 2 different covers, and you send it to that same group of friends, and say, okay, which one works better? But ideally, a mastermind has, it's a diverse group of people who all are driven and ambitious and, have a lot of different aims, but that intersect with your own. So an ideal mastermind, you have as much to give as you do to get. Specifically for our Stone Table mastermind, what we're trying to do is put together the best mastermind in publishing in the world. And because we're indie, we're nimble. We can do that. We can put people who are great with data, people who are great with audiobooks, people who are great, with numbers, artists. Seth, was there this weekend, and he'll talk about, he's not a publisher at all, but he's still a creative entrepreneur. And I think, creative entrepreneurs really kind of drive the kind of work that we're doing. So anyhow,
to frame the idea of just for anybody who may have submitted, and I don't know if Amy's gotten back to everybody yet or not, maybe it would be helpful to define what at least ours is not, and if you create a mastermind, what maybe yours should not be. The Stone Table is not an event. It is not like we just had. We had the Colonist Summit, and before that, even the first one, even the World Builder Summit, those were technically events. And if you wanted to go, you could pay your fee and you could attend. And that's not what this is. Like this is we're trying to build a group that's mutually beneficial. And well, there is a fee. It's not. It isn't like you either get a ticket or you don't. So I don't. Because that sets up kind of a student-teacher dichotomy, and I think that it would be easy to think like we're going to stand up and we're going to lecture, and it's something that you attend. Now we are going to have that next April. We're going to have an event that will be much less expensive than these events that we've already had, and that is the sort of thing where you buy a ticket and you attend, and we do instruct and we'll have speakers, but the sorts of people who should be in this are probably teachers themselves, like. There are actually some very specific people that I would kind of like to invite, people that would have been guests on this show. Like there are the authorities out there, people who have other people asking them questions. We want to share all of that knowledge. So if you ever do your own group, that's who you should look at as who are the other sort of thought leaders in your area, and those are the people that we want for the Stone Group, but not exclusively. Like there are lots of people who have already attended, and the experience and depth that's come just from people who we like haven't had on the show has been astonishing. Like it's kind of amazing what some of these people have in their backgrounds.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like when I'm framing what do you want out of a mastermind is I never want to be, and you, if you're putting together a mastermind, you never want to be the smartest guy in the room or the smartest girl. You want to
never have to worry about that.
You're never the smartest girl in the room, Dave?
Ever? You want to get people who are smarter than you in different ways than you are smart. For example, the 3 of us are all smart guys, but
well, some of us are. Some of us have an IQ a little bit less than the other.
Yeah, some of us have a deficit.
But we complement each other really well. we're smart in different ways, and so our intelligence is really compatible. And I think that that's important when you're putting together a group for sure. And I think that whether it's I mean, for me, one of the masterminds. This is the stone table. In case this hasn't been clear, it is application only, and I think that is smart. Like, it's small. There's only so many people we can.
It'll only be 12, and I think that probably 4 to 5 spots are probably already spoken for.
Yeah, and one of the masterminds I'm in right now, I was sponsored by somebody who was already in the group. I didn't know anybody else who was in the group. I had to submit my application. I had to wait for them to judge me. And then,
judged. You want to be judged.
And then once I was accepted, I got to find out who else was in the group, and
you had to kill somebody in order to get in the group.
And it was
You
really
had to
awesome.
bend over and say, "Thank you, sir. May I have
All
another?"
right. So if you guys, anybody out there who's read The Beam season 2, a mastermind is panel, except without the world domination stuff.
Maybe the world domination stuff.
Maybe
It's also a cabal, a cult.
Yeah.
Any of those terms would work.
Well, the publication domination for sure. But
Publication domination, which is kind of fun. Okay, so we'll move on, but I did want to address that because we really did it ill service when we mentioned the first time, and so of course we got punished by our lack of diligence came back to bite us, and nobody knew what we were talking about in true Sterling and Stone self-publishing podcast fashion. So again, if you think you are right for it and you want more information, you can just email Amy at help@sterlingandstone.net, or Sean created a very simple page at sterlingandstone.net/stone table. All right, so do we want to? What do we have? We do have some questions, but we don't have a ton of time. Do you want to hit some questions instead of something cools, or?
Well, I have something cool if everybody else does, but well,
we can also do questions. So yeah,
well, I do want to catch up on questions, but I have something cool and I have something cunty.
Ooh, he's branching out.
Well, okay.
How about cool and cunty? It's a new.
It's a drink mix. Or a deodorant.
For that. So yeah, if you're Amazon Prime, you get that first look thing, a free book each month.
Yeah.
So this is just the value of reviews, and this just sucks. So I got that email, earlier today, and I clicked on the books to see, and one of the books, it was the one I ended up choosing, had a 3-star average, and that was because it had 2 reviews, and it was 1 5-star and 1 1-star. So of course I clicked on the 1-star to see what the 1-star said, and it was just the cuntiest review. The person said, "Oh my," she just ranted about the book and just said, and cited that she didn't buy the book, she didn't choose the book, she went and looked at the first look, read the first 6 sentences, and then left a 1-star review on the first 6 sentences. Yeah, and the first 6 sentences actually made me want to buy the book.
That's 5 more sentences than I give a book, to be fair.
Well, I just it's just people are so frivolous with their 1-star reviews, and especially that early in the game, that's costing that author a lot of traction, and it's just so.
You don't need to worry. If that's Amazon first book, it'll be in the top spot by the end of the month. You don't need to worry about that author. That author will be fine and dandy. Thank you.
That author will be fine, but there are a lot of authors that kind of attitude hurts. And if a book only has 2 reviews, and one is judging their entire 1-star reviews have a tremendous amount of weight. And for somebody to judge an entire book off the first 6 sentences without ever buying it, and that is taking money out of an author's pocket, and it is cunty. So anyway, that was my something.
Happens all the time, though.
Yeah, that's.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't suck.
Everything sucks. Haven't you been hanging around me long enough to know that?
Everything sucks. So do you want me to do some of these questions?
Yeah,
sure.
Is awful.
All right.
So before Seth comes on, and I do need to. Did we send him a link? Does he already have a link? No, he doesn't, because I just made the Hangout.
No,
so
but I can send it to him in email right now. Man, if that's
okay,
all the
well,
reaction
don't
I got from Dave for my cunty thing, I should have done something cool.
Don't yet, unless you want him in now, right? So let's do a question. This is Ben asking about Rainmaker. I don't know if we can answer this one, but let's find out.
Hey guys, it's Ben Zackheim. I'm just wondering, I don't think you've talked about the Rainmaker platform in a while and how it's doing for you. I think Sterling and Stone is on that platform. Just curious how it's holding up. Thanks.
Calm your dogs down.
I'll take that. So, yeah, Sterling and Stone is on the Rainmaker platform, and supposedly there's a lot of really, really awesome stuff that it does. You know, that it's updated several times with some cool curation features and some podcasting features and a lot of stuff that we haven't even, you know, lifted the lid on at all. I've been eagerly awaiting a new theme that was being built for us, and the theme so far, I haven't been able to do much with it. They put it on our platform, and it wasn't quite ready. So I've actually been a little bit frustrated, but hopefully that will end soon, and I'll have nicer things to say. But for right now, yeah, I've been frustrated.
Well, what about the functionality? Because I don't do a lot with the website. Sean has almost exclusively handled that between the three of us, and so I'm still kind of unclear as to like theme and the way something looks and kind of works is different from the functionality that it imparts because it's Rainmaker.
Okay, that's a great question. The functionality actually is fantastic, but I think it's more than almost like just about any author would ever need. In fact, you know, we're coming up with an author solution for websites that we think will serve 99 out of 100 authors. Like it's exactly what authors need. Rainmaker is much more robust. Rainmaker serves if you have a lot of titles, if you're really interested in selling direct. For some nonfiction authors who you know, have courses that they want to sell or are really trying to build authority in a certain way through curation especially, Rainmaker is a very powerful platform for that. And even though it's more expensive, you know, by quite a lot, it actually has a lot of things that justify the price, you know, like lead pages type things built in, curation software built in, social media stuff built in. It will have email marketing built in. So those are all extra costs that you have. Podcasts built in, so you wouldn't have to pay Libsyn. You know, all that stuff.
Although we still do pay a podcast hosting company because the last iteration I didn't like the way it worked, but apparently that's better now.
Yeah, apparently that's better. There's a lot of stuff that's better, but for us, you know, we're still getting there. We're still figuring it out. I do believe in the platform, but I also believe in the platform for us, not for most authors. For most authors, I wouldn't be able to recommend it.
Right. Totally agree. Okay, so let's move on to David's question about Amazon and 99 Designs. It's like we're stocking these questions. These aren't sponsored questions. This question brought to you by 99designs.com/SPP. Here we go.
Hey guys, this is David, and my question, I actually have two. The first is, have you tried promoting with Amazon on the new promotion program? I've done two promotions. One had about 280,000 views with 173 click-throughs of 0.00065 approximately. My second one, I got about 5,300 views with.
Are you guys hearing this at all?
0.03%.
You aren't hearing it?
When you hit mute on the mic.
I was wondering if you guys.
Hold on. Did I? Oh, I didn't mean to hit mute. I hit mute on the mic. Am I muted?
Not now. You're not.
I didn't hear the question.
What the hell? Okay, so he's just giving stats and they aren't very good. I'll resume it now, and you can just tell me if you don't hear it again. But so far, it's just stats that are kind of terrible.
Okay.
Which isn't surprising with the Amazon ad network to me.
I had tried it yet on any of your books and had any luck.
Yeah.
And the second was actually a question about 99 Designs. I was thinking about using them real soon, and I wanted to know if I buy a design from them, is it a case where I can take that design and use it as much as I want? I couldn't find anything real quick on the website, and I would want to change a cover, but it's kind of a yesterday's gone kind of situation where I've got episode, and then I will have a collection at the end. And if I change it, I want to know if I could use it for all the different works. Thanks. Take care. Love the show. Talk to you again soon.
I'll take the Amazon advertising question, and then maybe Dave can take the 99 Designs question and spin it into an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
But for the for the ads, I don't think that Amazon ads are there yet. I mean, I hope they
I've
will
heard
be.
terrible things.
Yeah, right. I hope they will
But
be.
if he's
'cause
got a
that would-
crap cover, then that could be why the numbers didn't.
But I haven't heard anything good about the Amazon ads.
Yeah,
Just
I
haven't.
think right. I think that I think it's a great idea. I really hope they get it together. I mean, what's going to make me really mad, and it's actually a possibility, is if they have some really awesome ad thing that works as well as also bots, but it's only KDB Select. Like I could just see that
Oh, yeah,
coming.
that'll be the case.
Right. So like,
Well, it's already only KDP Select.
KDB Select, right? But who cares? Because it doesn't work, right? If they get it actually working to where the ads convert and they're served to the right people, you know.
Yeah, but the problem is that they're hoist on their own petard. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to get so many Select people, and then they're going to offer these exclusive ads with, like, if they have good placement. Think about also bots. Like, think if they really were that good, it's just going to be noise. Like they're not going to convert because it's all going to be paid shit. Like I think they kind of have to be shitty in order for the stuff that currently works to actually work.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So basically, at this point, I think it's wasting your money. I think paid traffic can be really great, but I don't think that's a source.
So, do you want? Yes.
I think anytime you buy a cover from an artist, whether it's 99 Designs or somebody else, you would have to pay, if you're wanting to use it for several episodes, you would need to pay more. You would need to pay for each cover separately. Maybe you could strike up some deal or something and pay a little bit more. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how that would work. I would email somebody at 99 Designs so they could answer your specific question.
Well, so I have a specific question. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there more there?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. Well, so I understand everything about the question you just answered. It was a great answer. The only thing I don't understand is what the hell is 99 Designs? Other than that, I totally get it.
You have selective amnesia, don't you? 99 Designs.
What's that?
99 Designs is only the best place in the world, man. They have zillions of designers, last I heard. 99 Designs is where, okay, if you're looking for a book cover that is professional, it will help you.
What if you're looking for an unprofessional cover that won't convert?
Then you can go anywhere in the world. You can make your own and just slap it on there. You can use the Amazon cover creator and you're set. But if you want your book to actually compete, to actually stand out and look like a bestseller before it's even sold a single copy, go to 99 Designs. They have tons of designers waiting to make the perfect cover for you. We use them several times and have been happy with the result each and every time.
If I'm not going to use them, do I have to inform them? If they're just waiting for me, I don't want to be rude.
I don't think they're not like pre-con.
Or is somebody else going to use them?
They're not
I'm just
pre-con.
very
They don't
confused
know
about
that
this
there's
process.
somebody out there
Okay.
waiting for a cover.
Okay.
Yes, so definitely we got our book 12 coming out on May 12th now. We use 99 Designs for the cover for that. And in the beginning, I put what I wanted this cover to look like, and I got a few crappy covers, but then I had great ones, and I had too many good ones to choose from. Every time we've done a contest, I've had too many good ones to choose from. It's amazing how many great designers they have.
So really, the only downside is the fact that you could lose all your money.
No, see, that's the other thing. With 99 Designs, you have absolutely nothing to lose. If you don't like your design, just get the fuck out of there. You're gone. Say bye.
Great. So you start your custom design today at 99designs.com/SPP, and if you use that link, you'll get the free Power Pack upgrade valued at $99, which will get you more designer time and attention. And let's face it, if you're not using the Power Pack upgrade, you really shouldn't be publishing. I mean, I'll just say it. I'll just come out and say that. So 99designs.com/SPP, and I will now acknowledge our guest, Seth Atwood, who's been very zen through that ad read. He showed up. He's just sitting there.
He's sitting there
Hello.
with judgmental eyes. I can.
I would
staring.
I would feel intimidated if I hadn't spent a weekend with Seth recently and know him to be just an awesome and totally chill guy.
The Zen runs deep here.
Yeah,
So
when
go
I
ahead,
said-
Sean.
When I said we were going to lunch with Seth that one day, when he came into Austin a couple weeks ago, Cindy said, "Oh, I love Seth. He's so placid." and he is.
Did you
He's
say
so
that about me?
placid. No.
Nobody's ever said that about you.
Nobody's ever called you placid.
Was that placid with a P, Sean?
Yes.
Just making sure.
Yes, placid with a P. Hey, Seth, can you see the chat by chance?
No.
You have there's a little blue icon in the upper left-hand corner. It looks like a
Okay,
comment
yes,
box.
I do see it.
Yeah, if you click that. And that means that you can chat while our listeners can't hear and see it. And it's
Well,
you can
it's
talk
because
about them.
I want to immediately start using that word, but I realize that I can't until. Oh, all right, cool. Well, I guess we could do a
I bet it's taken by a porn site.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. Well, I do.
I won't let you name it that anyway.
Oh,
Can
wow.
you do like get that name? Is that
Yeah.
possible?
I'll
like-
pick it up right now.
Okay, why don't you go get something, and then we'll do a little background on Seth before Sean talks about the name. So in true SBP professional fashion, I don't have any sort of official information on like what I can give Seth's accolades, but I know that you know a lot about us. So how do we turn that to our advantage and not make me look sloppy? Do you want to give your own bio?
Sure, yeah. I guess the relevant part started about 5 years ago when I started working with another developer in Charlottesville, and that's when I got into the WordPress space. And I was a co-developer of Frugal Theme, which turned into Catalyst Theme, which I think you guys used to run a few generations ago on a couple of your sites. And I went to Blog World Expo a few years ago and met Sean there, and we just kind of hit it off and have stayed in touch since then. I know you guys have been really busy over the last.
I was
3
probably
years.
at that Blog World. Why didn't you come see me, Seth?
I didn't know I should yet.
I'm offended.
And so during the last 3 years, I've done a lot of application development, and I've been doing a lot of web development for clients where I'm doing a lot of sites for clients that have a lot of kind of rich functionality. So that it's like this hybrid. It's websites that provide application level functionality. So I've been doing a lot of that, and then reached out to Sean for the first time in a couple of years for another project I was doing, and we hit it off again, and here we are talking about a new project that Sean might tell us the name of here.
Hold on, almost.
He's trying to figure it out. All right, so
I
then
would like to know where you got that picture behind you of the cat with the sock monkey.
I was betting
yes.
that Dave was going to mention that.
That's my spirit animal there, the cat in the sock monkey outfit with the Halloween pumpkin.
I love that.
I think it was a card from Grandma for a birthday a couple years ago.
Seth has
became
met
part of
your
my-
spirit animal, Dave, in person.
I did.
Dave the Taper.
Dave the Taper.
All right, so we have it now.
All right,
What do you
so
have, Sean?
I think that he has get and then the word that I don't want to blow the lid on before the proper
I think
reveal.
Seth should get to reveal it because he actually.
Yeah, it was
came up
his
with it.
idea. Seth walked in with this fully formed when we were having lunch at.
And I was so excited, and Johnny won't let me have it. But all
Well,
right.
for reasons which will become obvious, although it can be sort of the backdoor name. Ha ha ha.
Well, the gist of it was when I contacted Sean a few months ago, it was with this totally different idea, and it was like a half-hour phone call where I was going to kind of pitch my idea, and it turned into like a 20-minute pitch from Sean for his idea, which was awesome. And
Shocking.
That's never happened to anyone before.
But the idea was for an application that you guys have been talking about for a while to better facilitate story beats and kind of increase writer productivity so that you guys can use it in-house to kind of level up on your already high-level productivity. So with beats and kind of entertaining lots of different ideas. I think the tool can be bigger than just, like the story beats outline creation. I think we can really strive towards like mastery with the beats, and therefore I thought the ideal name for it would be Master Beats.
And that's a catchy name too, because we're like, what, can we use that? Because it sounds a lot like masturbating. And Seth was just, wait, you'd be masturbating all over the place and get together with fellow masturbators, and you get together and you masturbate together. And as this is going on, Sean is, on the other hand, saying, well, I think an ideal audience for this would be schools. I'm like, okay, I see a disconnect. But that said,
let's talk about masturbates.
Let's talk about
for young writers to learn how to masturbate.
Children, get out your computers and we'll all start masturbating. So, but that said, it was a magnetic phrase in that nobody wanted to call it the Beats app. It was just always with a straight face came out. It was just Master Beats. Like, we just talk about it as Master Beats. So I imagine that'll have to be the quiet secondary name, and we'll probably have something more stuffy and proper as well.
I just want Master Beats, but I understand we have to be professional sometimes. So, do you want to talk about Master Beats?
We could call it stroking.
No, let's just end the show.
Stroking text.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Well, the genesis of this is just, we want this. This is a tool that we want for ourselves, and by building it for ourselves, we'll eventually, be able to share it with everybody. But it is, we create a lot of stories, and I think, I don't know how refined this tagline is, but it's better, basically for us, it's create better stories faster. And, for us, for the right publish repeat model, you need a lot of content. You need to tell a lot of stories. Even if it's just a series, you want to be able to tell those stories faster. You want to be able to build better worlds in less time. So all the things that I do when I'm beating, from casting to location scouts to using, story templates, from Hero's Journey to whatever, all of that stuff in kind of if I had something that was more of a drag and drop canvas, because right now I just do everything in Scrivener. But if I had something that I could use outside of Scrivener that then plugged into Scrivener, that would be amazeballs, and I would love to, figure that out. So, Seth is a really, really smart guy, and we've talked about doing things for, 3 or 4 years, but, nothing ever really happened because whatever, like I'm in my crazy world and he's in his crazy world. But when he wanted to get on a call and talk about his crazy idea, and then when he was all done, I told him my crazy idea, and, here we are. And I think that he sees a lot of potential in this crazy idea. And so he's definitely taken the ball and run with it, and he has a lot of this is what he used his hot seat at the summit for. And so I'll just let him talk on that, but tell everybody some of your crazy ideas.
Yeah, so in looking into Beats, like the model that I went with, first I kind of digested a huge chunk of your archive of your podcasts. You had, like in the 60s was like the long-awaited Story Beats episode. So that's where I started. But then I saw a lot of connections with like setting and character development and world building, where what I realized was in order to best facilitate kind of rapid beat production, you need at your fingertips kind of your
to beat fast.
I'm sorry, are we talking about fast masturbating with your fingertips?
Well, the technique is a matter of personal preference. We're just providing a toolkit here. See, so you can masturbate however you like with it, hopefully. But the idea is that I think there's potential here for a real kind of hyperlinking of all of the elements that make up a story. So I know you guys like to cast characters. So right off the bat for character development, having some kind of photo archive or hook into the IMDb API so that we can pull in, like Daniel Day-Lewis from a particular film, or we can pull in different actors, or just have a pool of like generic faces so that you can cast characters to have a place to hold your research, which I know Scrivener does, but I think there's room for that also in this application. Mind mapping tools, floor planning tools. I know that you guys have some stories where the house it takes place in is a major part of the story, almost at a character level. And so to be able to map that out, so like when somebody's getting chased out of the room, do they go left or right? To be able to quickly reference that stuff.
Yeah, Sean.
And then when you're
if you don't.
Exactly. So we need the tools to kind of keep it all straight, but then to actually, when it comes time to generate the beats, then I'm picturing something where you can quickly say like, okay, new chapter, new scene, and in this scene it's in this particular setting, so you just flag that in, and then it's hyperlinked in. These characters are at play. They have this bottle of ayahuasca on the table. But,
is there a specific ayahuasca module? Because we're going to need that.
Ayahuasca as part of a greater psychedelic module. So you have all your psychedelics with ayahuasca.
Modules within modules, man. Modules within modules, all part of the plan.
You're getting it, Dave. Absolutely. So that's kind of the broad stroke idea, and then.
Yeah, I also I like. I mean, we were talking about timelines because I think timelines are kind of hard to map out. Stuff where we would have different story structure templates. So you could click a button for Hero's Journey, and Hero's Journey would populate. But you could also upload your own. If there's like right now we're kind of developing well, there's one that I use a lot for Realm and Sands. And you could just that's ours. We put it in there, and you press a button, and it populates, and then you could just kind of fill in the blanks with your characters and whatnot. Also,
talk about the story questions, the character questions.
That's exactly where I was going. So there's something else that we use right now called Character DNA, and right now it's 350 questions that I use. But I never answer all 350 questions. I maybe will answer 50 to 100 depending on how deep I'm going with that character. But there's an artificial quality to it because as I'm answering the questions, I'm cherry picking what questions those are. And it's basically what I feel like answering at that given time or what I feel will somehow develop that character best. But I like the idea a lot more, and Seth said this would actually be pretty easy to do, that we would expand those questions from 350 to maybe 1,000. And they just get fed into the character DNA, and then you basically set a timer for maybe 60 minutes, and you do an interview with the character. And so Master Beats will ask you the questions, out of order, random. What was your first sexual experience? What was your earliest memory? What's your favorite food? These kinds of things that would help round out this character, and it's the kind of stuff that gets put together in the Beats pre-production package, except it's a little more organic because you're not cherry picking the questions.
Yeah, I think that's that can really add a lot of value, and the idea that the application can be built such that it guides you through the process if you want it to, right? And we had talked about kind of like the Microsoft paperclip, except I think that Donovan
Dave doesn't know this. Yeah, it's going to be Dave the Taper. Dave the Taper is going to be the little icon.
Are you sure you want
like you're trying to? How many days will this poor asshole live?
I have an idea. Why don't you just kill this character?
Is he from the South?
Yes. Just say that.
I didn't know Dave the Taper had an accent.
So, but the idea being that some people want a hands-off experience when they're working with these tools. They want ultimate flexibility and just pick and choose whatever pieces I want. And other people might benefit, or even if you could click and say there could be a little floating Dave the Taper all the time, and you can just reach out and tap him when you need help, and he can jump in and
when you need
suggest
discouragement.
Step, right? Yeah, if someone's moving along just too well and they need a derailment so that they can feel the pain to motivate the next chapter, Taper can.
You should throw away everything in this chapter.
I love when the Microsoft Paperclip would ask you are you sure you wanted to do that? So I would be like, are you sure you want him to live?
And it would be really discouraging, and you'd be like, no, I guess not.
No, Dave the Taper starts with no. Always.
Slow down, you're writing too many words today.
Listen to him.
I think that we need to have a one of those voice recording sessions where we just record 3,000 Dave the Taperisms, and they just feed it into the application.
I hope it comes with a mute button.
So we're talking about doing like a Slack model type here, which was one of Seth's very first questions. Is this an iPhone app that you're wanting, or basically he was saying no, it's not. You want it to be a web app, like Slack. They have this very robust web app that also has graceful versions on basically in every other platform.
And that's part of what makes this project exciting to me as we started talking about it, is that in my industry, kind of in the trying to stay on the cutting edge of web development, what we're seeing more and more is these massive services that are just like integral to every part of our lives, that live everywhere and follow us everywhere. And the model that most of them use is there is a strong central web application, and that's kind of the access point that the native iPhone app or your BlackBerry app or your Android app is going to call home to the mothership to fetch the data. The idea being just that it's always in reach. I think that's a great model for this. I wanted to touch on something too, Sean, as you were talking about some of the different ideas, and I have a big outline of the ideas, but the idea really being that this is a tool for you guys and for your community. And so after the summit, Slack team was started, and there's a lot of discussion been going on there, but I'm seeing like having a Beats app channel in that, and really keeping people involved throughout the process, because I really want to serve as a steward of this project and not come in and say this is how it is, this is how it's going to be, but I want to stay in this creative space as long as we can, because great stuff comes out every time we talk about it as far as potential features and what your needs are.
Now, will there be do you have to be connected to the internet to use if it's web-based? I mean, can you be disconnected, or will there be like a standalone app that you can also like download and use?
No, you can use it disconnected. Slack is actually really sophisticated in how they do it. This gets a little bit technical here, but basically you use whatever you're on, your phone or your tablet or your laptop, you use its local storage until it can connect back to the mothership. So it syncs up whenever it is connected, but you can work in the middle of the Serengeti if that's your thing.
Yeah, I think that's important for writers. Yeah, I like in my dungeon there's no electricity, so.
Right. Yeah, you can totally master beat unplugged.
Right. Old school master beat.
Oh, no hands. Yeah, I think that this is something that I don't know, was kind of a dream, like a distant dream, something I wanted to do.
Sean had a dream.
I mean, it was on our list for 2015, things that we wanted to do. The first Sterling and Stone app. But I think this is definitely ahead of schedule. But once I was talking to Seth, it just seemed like, well, what do you think of this? And this is evolving pretty quickly, and I love how it's evolving. And Seth will be in Austin next week, and we are going to lunch to talk even more about masturbating. We're going to be masturbating in public, at a table. That'll be fun.
With my business partner.
Oh, it's going to be a
three-way
masturbate session. Yeah. So
someone's photographing. Johnny will be standing in the corner watching.
I promise to put our masturbating session on Instagram. Remind me, Seth.
Okay.
So yeah, this is something that is absolutely happening. And you're right. We probably should have some kind of repository to take.
Oh my God!
To take feedback.
Right? Can you believe this episode?
Right. To get feedback, because I know we have that summit channel, but there's only a couple dozen people there. So
right. We want to reach your whole audience, and just call as many ideas as you can. Like, great ideas can quickly turn into really great features that save a lot of time.
Is there a place where you would want to collect those, Seth, where it wouldn't be overwhelming, or like what's the best way for you, or do you want to talk about that next week?
Yeah, let's. I'll have some ideas in place before we meet next week.
Oh, exciting.
We got a comment. Jennifer Selzer says, I love the name Masturbates and think you should use it wholesale. Don't shy away. Day of the week for me is always hard to track, and my writing partner and I usually use an actual calendar so we don't forget it's Tuesday or Friday in the timeline of a story.
Right. I think timeline is a really big one. Oh, you know what? Seth had another really great idea that Seth, talk about your the marketplace.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
so.
Cool.
Yeah, this is a goal for more kind of long term as we roll this out. I'm
Which is good
picturing.
just to imagine, you guys, this is going to start out kind of small, right? But it will grow quickly because you know how we are, right? We
Well, it's the
iterate, we
nature of
optimize.
apps. You have a next version and a next version. It's not like here's the app, it's done forever, you know.
Right. So we'll get something that's minimum and viable and that we can actually work with. And I mean, just look at how much internally at Sterling and Stone beats have evolved from the very first Unicorn Western to Axis of Aaron. Just and they've evolved since then. Like they get more and more detailed all the time, and so will the app. But so long term, this is an example of how big this can get.
Yeah, so the idea, like a quick 1, 2, 3. The first phase I see creating this toolkit that individual authors can use, and then moving to where we add an interactivity where it's, for example, like as a team, you can all work kind of like Slack does, where you can have teams, and then where you can network with other master beaters, because nobody wants to really master beat alone.
No,
and then finally, though, to actually create a marketplace, the way I'm imagining architecting the application, everything will be encapsulated. So like your characters will be kind of standalone units, your settings will be standalone units, but they can be stitched together into worlds or bundles that will then be available for purchase or sale on a marketplace. Because a lot of people really enjoy, it seems, the world creation and the beats generation, or they excel at it, whereas other people really excel at kind of fleshing out the beats. And I know you guys are familiar with that from your own process. So to create a marketplace where people can kind of get what they need in order to keep moving forward productively, I think that's got a lot of potential there.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Somebody who they don't fancy themselves a writer, but they love putting all the elements together. I could see that being crazy popular.
So think of like if Dungeons and Dragons, somebody would create the dungeon. I mean, that's the sort of thing that you could get into too.
Right. Right. So you could create really cool worlds. You could create cool scenarios. There's just so much there's so much potential, and this is just a big giant surprise box at this point. Like we know what the basic things that we want to accomplish are, but the app itself will tell a story. The app itself, once we all start using it, both in-house and with the community, it'll grow and it'll become something really amazing.
And it will be something that you can work with Scrivener with, correct?
Oh, that was another thing, yeah.
So I've done some research into the way that you can import and export from Scrivener, and it supports this open standard. It's a variation of XML called OPML. That's outline something markup language. So there is this one kind of access point. So anything that we can convert into an outline format will be importable into Scrivener, and I imagine that the beats themselves would lend themselves to an outline format. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I have an app. I've actually never used it, but I bought it for the Dream Engine, and it's called Aeon Timeline, and it's the same thing. It's a timeline app because
Aeon Timeline uses OPML to output, as do a lot of the other things that Scrivener works with. So in that regard, maybe your templates, like your hero's journey or whatever arcs, they could be output and then pulled into Scrivener. Your actual beats could be output and pulled into Scrivener. And then any mind maps that we generate, if we can find a way to maybe represent floor plans in an outline format. So
well, you can also you could probably export in a PDF, right? Because you could drag anything PDF into Scrivener too. That makes it really. I mean, Scrivener has those buckets. You can drag stuff in there.
Anything that doesn't go through this outline format can be output somehow as an asset that can be brought into Scrivener. So because Scrivener is absolutely the tool that the beats and the data needs to ultimately end up in, because that's where the writing happens.
Right. I mean, but even old-fashioned, the very first Unicorn Western beats were written in Pages and then just dragged into Scrivener. So Scrivener has a great bucket architecture where you can kind of keep everything. I mean, ideally, it's awesome if we have simple ways to put in timelines and export. But regardless, you'll be able to move whatever you need into asset form.
We have a comment and a question. Maya Good says, this is a wonderful idea if you can get it finished before NaNoWriMo. I bet a lot of people would be willing to
I
try
don't
it
think
out
that's going to happen, though, right?
during Outline October. This could be much bigger than just your audience once it's finished. Dustin Porta has a question. Would MasterBeats include a simple functional word processor with multi-format exporting, or are there enough of those out there already?
Yeah, that's something that'll need to be decided down the road. I think we'll all, like, as a community, want to have a conversation about what are the outer bounds of what the MasterBeats application will do. I've seen a lot of
start with, right?
applications.
Like we don't want to pick anything that halts progress, right? Like we all want something to start playing with. We'd rather play sooner than wait for it to be this perfect thing with a processor and all of that. I imagine.
Yeah,
right?
and if you're bringing in a Scrivener, I don't see the point of doing too much of that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's something I can see it growing into eventually in response to demand, but we see a lot of applications or web services hit the market nowadays where they're trying to be everything to everybody for all their needs, and you end up with something that's not quite effective at anything. So
Like an
by starting
printer.
and exactly,
Right.
it does a terrible job at everything it tries to do.
Right.
And I think one thing that's been attractive about working on this with you guys is that I see so many parallels in kind of the fast-paced, iterative, like what you're working on with Iterate Optimize. There are so many parallels between your guys' writing process and the application and web development process that I use that it's really exciting to be heading into this together because, I just see we're going to be able to work together to really nail down like a solid core that is a huge thing to add to your tool belt, and then continually like keep the ears open to the community and to the user base. And when demand comes in for things like a rich word processor, if enough demand is there to warrant implementing it, or any other feature that I can't even imagine yet because we don't have thousands of users and their own individual needs speaking yet. But I'm looking forward to getting there.
No, I love. I mean, everybody here knows how much I love doing things that haven't been done, and I think that this is a really big idea. It's something that hasn't been done, and it brings a lot of value into the storytelling community. And no matter what kind of story you're trying to tell, I think that there's something here for you. So there was no exaggeration when we were first talking about this a couple weeks ago and said I think that pretty much everybody listening to this will think it's interesting, even if they don't really think it's something they would use. But yeah, I think it's a really big idea, and I cannot wait to see what happens with it. Dave laughing at it. Okay, Dave, share. Secrets
I'm
are
sure
for
it's a
everyone.
comment.
Well, I went to masterbeating.com to see if it was a thing.
Oh no.
It's not. But it shows when I enter something that's not a site, it gives me like a search for the text. So there's a Yahoo Answers question. Masturbating help. Hi, I wanted to know if masturbating is bad for you. Please answer.
I'll bet a lot of people misspell masturbating as masturbating. Because it makes sense. You're beating, right?
You're going to get a completely unintended audience for this.
It's going to be.
I'm going to do a quick Google search for masturbating.
Well, and if that's our user base, ultimately, then we'll steer the application in that direction. So.
Yeah. Hey, someone has to write porn as well, right? Porn scripts?
Ways to make me feel good while masturbating. I want to quite masturbating. I suppose it's quit. Does Oh, that's
two misspelled words.
There are videos on masturbating. Having blood in my sperm while masturbating.
Oh no!
There's a ton, right? Okay, we'll stop there. But I'm just saying, like, people are curious about this.
All right.
You got to give the people what they want. Give people what they want.
Are there questions in the comments or anything?
Let me refresh. A lot of people think this is a good idea. Hold on. What the fuck? Now the comments are taking forever to load. Okay.
What I like about this is that the model. This is a model that we like from Copyblogger, where basically they create tools that they need, and then they offer them to other people. And so that's what I like about this. It's what I like about the author website stuff that Sean was mentioning earlier. Is it's not like, well, let's kind of create a product and see if people want it. It's like, well, you know what? If nobody wants this, we got a really cool app that we can use. And so that's and plus we have the ear of the community, the SBP community, And so it should be. I mean, just it kind of has to be an awesome app, right? As long as Seth can do his job, which we know he can, then I think we got a winner.
Yeah, one of the things we hear from our listeners and readers and stuff has to do with beats. People are interested in that, amazingly so. I wouldn't have thought the interest would be quite as high as it was when we did the thing last year, but it was. Question or comment, Sarah Negovich says, "Oh man, I just finished a manuscript using Scrivener for the first time. I'd love a beat plugin. I love the corkboard feature, but found it clunky at times."
Oh yeah, this'll take the corkboard's lunch money. This is nothing like the corkboard. This will be really robust and pliable. I think also it will. I think just like everybody kind of writes a little bit differently, I think that everybody will master beat a little bit differently. You know, I
Some
think
of us quietly while crying.
Wow.
What's funny is that works with both the literal definition and the parse definition.
I think that the way for all Sterling and Stone stories, character is pretty much the most important thing. Like we really care about who these things are happening to. For fantasy, people, maybe setting is the most important thing, or timeline is the most important thing.
World building.
Yeah. World building. Yeah, I think that this app it'll make, as the tagline suggests, better stories faster. Which again, I think it's a really exciting thing to bring to the community.
Comment, MGon says, "So exciting, I'm ready to start master beta testing now."
Yeah, awesome.
There we go.
Mikey Campling says, "I'm worried. Will this app make me go blind and/or go to hell?"
It might.
Quotidian Light says, "I would have just called it Master Beats and then played stupid when people suggested it was naughty, but you all blew your innocence with this episode." Right.
Well, no. See, because you can do that. Like, they're the problems. Like, if somebody says, "I can't believe you called it Master Beats," and you just deadpan, why? And then they're the bad guy.
And then they have to say it too, which is the best part. Well, it's and then you say, "What's that?"
Yeah, but you can't bring this into schools. Like Master Beats Junior Edition, that's just not going to fly.
Yeah, I do.
Although I could have used a lot of help when I was around 13, 14, figuring that out. I mean, if only I had Master Beats at the time, that would have helped with my stories so much better.
So, uncomfortable silence.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I do like. I love the idea. I do realize we would have to have a different name if we were bringing it to schools, but I actually love the idea of bringing this to schools. I think it's something that creative writing groups. I don't know. I think there's a ton of potential here.
All right.
So is that it's stunned silence? I guess we're done.
Everybody's recovering from the imagery.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on apps, on Master Beats, on Seth's lack of a Hobbit pipe, anything like that?
Oh, I told everybody he had a Hobbit pipe, and he doesn't have a pipe anymore. He made me into a liar.
Well, the thing is, once the beard fully ripens, you don't need the pipe anymore.
Well, that's true. Maybe you need to fill yours out, or get a pipe.
One of the two. All right, everybody. Well, I guess we'll be done. Seth, what's the next call to action for people with you? You want people to visit you online? You want people to leave you alone? What do you want them to do?
Well, if anyone wants to check out some of the other things I've worked on recently, you can find my business website at strangewindstudio.com.
strangewindstudio.com.
Is that a flatulence reference?
I was going to avoid that particular landmine, but Dave went right.
It's from a Shel Silverstein poem that says, "What a strange wind it was today. My hat stayed on, but my head blew away." It seemed appropriate for my company.
And if anyone anyone wants to share their master beating methods with you, should they email you or?
I think that I'm going to create some kind of centralized repository where people can submit ideas. I'll bring that to Sean next week, and then maybe you guys can get something up on your website or mention it on a subsequent podcast.
One thing I think would be cool to do with this, I think seeing how other people do their beats is really helpful. So if we had like some samples from some writers we want to get with, maybe if they want to be included or whatever, have like a few sample templates that you can actually look at and see how a story came to be, basically. Like maybe we'd throw Dream Engine in there or something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him all the Dream Engine stuff just because it's so filled. I think that's like a half gig, that Scrivener file for the Dream Engine 2. So there's that, and then one that I've just kind of been adding to that is called like SNS Master Template. That's where like the character DNA lives, things like that. So yeah, Seth will have access to a lot of those assets, but I think the more the better. I don't think, this is definitely a tool that we want to use ourselves, but it should speak to the entire community. And I think the more voices he has, the better the app will be.
Yeah, so I know there must be websites out there that I'm thinking maybe Trello or someplace where like the conversation can happen, and we can publicly invite everyone to some kind of forum where people can start submitting their own beats and submitting their own kind of world building resources, so that we can make sure that we build something that accommodates as many needs as possible right off the bat.
So anyone willing to publicly masturbate, we'll have a place for you to do that soon.
You don't have to do it alone, people.
All right, well, let's draw this particular immature travesty to a close. Thanks to Seth Atwood for being on and for just kind of joining the Sterling and Stone team. Had a lot of fun. I'm a little jealous that I can't go to this lunch because that would be fun. All right, everybody, so thanks for listening to this. I will. Stop rubbing it in, bitch. All right, so thanks for listening to the Self-Publishing Podcast. If you'd like to get all our advice without the off-topic bullshit, and you are one of those few people who haven't found our self-publishing guide, Write, Publish, Repeat, it's at selfpublishingpodcast.com/WPR. And thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next week.